Feel tough with your assault rifles and your sticks. You should be standing here with us. You're on the wrong side of history. We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community, people working their job. They send in men in military fatigues, weapons of war into our community, and you stand here and you allow it. I am sick and tired of it. You should be sick and tired of it. You think any of these people in the White House sending? Not one of them do. They laugh at you. Our president laughs at you. He calls you fools. He said the people who died overseas in the military were chumps. That's who you're defending right now.
Government overreach and a weaponized system of justice and law enforcement. The full weight of the United States government barreling down on you. And as the Biden Inspector General determined, those activities by the FBI and DOJ were wholly improper and not predicated upon law and fact because of government overreach, because of leaks of information.
Think about your place in history, ladies and gentlemen. Ask yourself when you wake up tomorrow. I don't know if you have kids. Ask yourself the future you want for your children. Is it this? You can answer me. Is it this? Do you feel good about this?
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever.
Tough behind your fucking masks and your fatigues and with your weapons, but how do you feel on the inside?
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
This is our fucking community.
Arrest him. Should he do it? I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it's great. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin NEWSOM. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems?
Oh, are they people ISIS trying to deport, or are
who is that?
Who?
Where the security? Hold on. Wait a minute. How did she get? Who is that? Got a mask on and a camera. I like Gavin NEWSOM. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent.
To fill the hydrants. I would.
Been threats, previously that if you stand in the way of your enforcement operations, you could be subject potentially to arrest. Are you saying that about Mayor Bass and Governor NEWSOM? Are they at risk of being arrested?
I'll say it about anybody. You cross that line. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien. It's a felony to impede law enforcement from doing their job.
Do you think that the mayor of LA is doing that?
If she crossed that line, we'll ask DOJ to prosecute. Do I think she's crossed the line? I don't think she's crossed the line yet. But I'm telling you, the warning we're sending is we're not going to tolerate people attacking our officers.
Tough guy, why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Lay your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Lay your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. I don't give it.
This morning, the National Guard is on the ground.
So Tom, arrest me. Let's go. Of the state. They never coordinate with the governor of the state. We talked for almost 20 minutes and this issue never came up. I kept trying to talk about LA. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night. I think about 1:30 plus his time.
After the protests had started.
After the protests. And he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone cold liar. He said he did. Stone cold liar. Never did. It was a very civil conversation. I've always wanted to approach engagement with the president of the United States in a respectful and responsible way. But there's no working with the president. There's only working for him. And I will never work for Donald Trump. Where's your decency, Mr. President? Stop. Rescind this order. It's illegal and unconstitutional. And I said it. I'll say it again. It's immoral. You're creating the conditions that you claim you're solving, and you're not. And you're putting real people's lives at risk.
ICE rioters in LA blocking the highway and setting fire to the city in protest of Trump's administration's illegal immigration crackdown.
Sending Marie's.
What I think it is, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, will be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Accuracy your leads on the table, sir. Secretary,
We got to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom wrote in protest to the president and also posted on X saying, quote, "I have formally requested the Trump administration rescind their unlawful deployment of troops in Los Angeles County and return them to my command."
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid? He's afraid of getting run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city. You did. The governor was not contacted.
Well, first of all, it's just ridiculous. That reporter from SMEC, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You can't run that back one time, man. Run.
The governor was not contacted.
He's a joke. He's a dishonest reporter. What we discussed was, for those protesters that cross the line, I've said it many times, you can protest, you get your First Amendment rights. But when you cross that line, you put hands on an ICE officer, or you destroy property, or I say that you're impede law enforcement, or you're knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien, that's a crime. And the Trump administration is not going to talk. Protest or no protest, if you break the law, that's a crime and we will arrest you. Amen. You cross that line, we're going to seek prosecution to the Department of Justice. Then the reporter asked me, well, could Governor Newsom or Mayor Bass be arrested? I said, well, no one's above the law. If they cross the line and commit a crime, absolutely they can. So there was no discussion about arresting Newsom. And so, you know, what he's done, he's failed that state. He waited 2 days of that city burning and people getting hurt, officers being assaulted before he made any declaration of an unlawful assembly. He's late to the game. President Trump isn't late to the game. Men and women are not late to the game. And let's make this clear. I keep hearing this term ICE raids, ICE raids. What happened with how this riot started is that ICE was serving a series of criminal warrants at a business being investigated for money laundering, customs fraud, and serious violations on. Wow, how this all started was a raid on and imagine LA where all of the bootleggers are, LA where all of the copycat, you know, you can go to LA and buy fake Louis Vuitton purses, you could go to LA and buy fake Jordans. So just so happens that this all starts from them raiding one of them shops in downtown Fashion District, probably in LA, allegedly, on their counterfeit goods and smuggling money. Now, ain't that something? And this is what you protest over. Ain't none of that money coming back to the hood. So why are you upset? Sending money to criminal cartels that in Colombia and Mexico that fund cartel activities in the United States is a part of an overall. Sending money back to criminal cartel, finally. Shout out to Big Cash Patel. Finally, they breaking down how this is being done. They running these legal restaurants, illegal fashion, illegal businesses in America, funneling the money back to their country into the cartel. Yes, they've been doing it for years. Yes, we need to crack down. This is what we protest over. Conspiracy that ICE is investigating. So we're arresting bad people. We were enforcing laws and following up on a serious criminal investigation on cartel financing. So we made LA safer. The men and women at ICE, the men and women at Border Patrol made LA safer that day. Can we get a hand clap for the men and women? See, it's so perverted what's going on right now. Did y'all hear that? He said, we made LA safe. Do you want the cartels in your country running things in LA, or do you want the American government running things in LA? They said they made LA safe. What is the protest? Not hearing any of this. All you hear is a rhetoric about ICE being racist, about ICE being Nazis and terrorists, and Governor Newsom feeds that. Amen. Like Hakeem Jeffrey feeds it that he's going to unmask ICE agents, and the members of Congress who keep feeding this rhetoric, they're the ones that are causing this riot because they don't listen to the truth about what the men and women at ICE are doing. We're keeping our promise to American people. And they don't listen to the American people who have said over and over again, we are done with the crime. We're done with the gangs. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Border Czar. Keep doing Tom Homan. Keep doing the hard work. God bless you and your family, man. Here's a summary of the situation. Cause. The protest began after federal officials conducted immigration raids in Los Angeles surrounding communities, leading to over 100 arrests. While initial demonstrations were described as peaceful, some protesters engaged in violence, vandalism, and arson, particularly in the downtown Los Angeles area. Authorities used crowd control measures, including flashbangs, tear gas, and rubber bullets to disperse the protesters. Several dozens of arrests were made. National Guard deployment. President Trump ordered the deployment of the National Guard troops to the Los Angeles to protect federal personnel and property, a move that California Governor Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass criticized as inflammatory. Several Waymo self-driving cars were set on fire and some businesses were looted. Downtown Los Angeles declared unlawful assembly. The entire downtown area was declared an unlawful assembly, and authorities urged people to leave. While some reports refer to these events as riots, they were primarily a response to immigration enforcement action rather than the kind of racial unrest that characterized the 1992 LA riots. It's important to note the distinction between and the causes and context of these events. Just to give you guys a breakdown and a background of what's actually going on right now.
To blame for that. Well, I mean, I just have to say, dial back time to Thursday. None of this needed to happen. Why did we need to have raids here? It was very clear that if raids happened here, that the community was going to respond in a very negative way. I tried to make that case. Unfortunately, I didn't succeed. I was very hopeful that we would not have, that the federal government would not have deployed the National Guard. But anyway, I think it's important.
So we need to really have a talk about leadership in LA. Did you guys hear that? Do I got to play that again? She said she urged Rolling 60s Crips RICO was handed out over less than 45 days ago, Mayor Karen. There was no outcry. I didn't hear you say anything about no raids. Because raids means that the police are doing their job and arresting criminals. As far as I can recall, people applauded the arrest of the Rolling 60s. People applauded the arrest and the RICO of over 30 black fathers and men in the Rolling 60s, and who they claim to be gang members. Some of the men claim not to be gang members, right? But I didn't hear anything from you or anybody in politics saying that we urge the LAPD and the FBI not to do raids because of protests, i.e. not to arrest criminals because that. So now you need to see a clear picture of what it's like in Southern California and the leadership of California, where they are actively asking the Democrat liberal leadership in LA is actively asking police and the FBI, the DEA, and the ICE to not do their job. So when you look around at the crime, what I've been talking about every day in California with the cartels, illegal marijuana, the crime and destruction, and why it's so pervasive, this is why.
No, I meant Thursday, meaning before the raid. The raid happened on Friday. Everything was fine in the city. Just think about that. We weren't having problems with protests. There were no problems with violence.
Everything was fine in the city. This is the Democrat leadership. Everything was fine in the. You dealing with a Rolling 60s RICO. You just had a shooting and a violence up at No Jumper. Consistent violence on online in the streets. The people are afraid to go to Roscoe's. People are afraid to shop. People are afraid to do merch. And you said there was no problems. I'm not gonna stand for it. So I'm not going to put up with that propaganda. So I just went to Google real quick, and just to do a fact check. Los Angeles has a higher crime rate than the national average. Specifically, Los Angeles has a crime rate approximately 3,000 crimes per 100,000 residents, which is 29% higher than the national average. This includes violent crime occurring at a rate of about 761 per 100,000 people, and a property crime rate as roughly as 2,300 per 100,000 residents. Do you want to live there? Crime. Los Angeles has a crime rate 29% higher than the national average. The violent crime rate in Los Angeles is higher than the national average. This is just the facts. The violent crime rate in Los Angeles is higher than the national average. The property crime rate in Los Angeles is also higher than the national average. Compared to other large cities in the United States, Los Angeles ranks 9th overall for the crime,
The raids happened on Friday, and in response to especially the arrest of David Huerta, one of the most respected labor leaders that we have in the city, him being injured, going to a hospital.
Still in federal custody.
Yes, he's still in federal custody. If I understand it right, his arraignment is today. But all of that creates fear and tension in our city. And we have to think about the families on Friday, 3 different workplaces where raids took place. Many of those family members have not been in contact with their relatives. They don't know where their relatives are still here. Are they in Southern California? Have they been shipped to a country that maybe they don't even know? And so the instability that creates, and we went through this before in the last administration, the last Trump.
She makes a good point, because Obama, in case you guys didn't know, Obama deported more people than Trump. Stop the cap moment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get right to the facts, man. Stop the cap, man. With Purple Diamond Podcast with the blast and a dash real fast. So she said, and she made a mistake. Y'all caught her in faux pas. She said deportee. So that's why I knew this fact from the debates. Obama deport more people than Trump? Yes. Barack Obama's administration deported more people than Donald Trump's administration during the respective presidencies. These are the facts. Stop the cap. Obama deportation number. Over 2 terms, Obama administration formally removed 3 million non-citizens, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Trump's number is 1.5 deportations. Trump only did half. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
I heard yesterday there was about 300.
Right.
You're still feeling as though the National Guard, Trump calling the National Guard, that's what's responsible for yesterday? Because
No. I'm saying Friday is what was responsible for yesterday. This was a buildup. Our city was peaceful before the raids to be of paramount.
There she did it again. Stop the cap. She did it again, talking about our city was peaceful. She keep giving me these stop the cap moments. Your city was not peaceful. Let me say that correctly. Your city was not peaceful before the raids, which is why the federal government was conducting raids in your city, because your city has a higher average in percentile than most, over 70% of American cities when it comes to violence. When it comes to crime and violent crime. That is the facts, ma'am. Los Angeles crime rate compared to the national average is 29% higher. The violent crime rate is higher, and the property crime rate is higher. Stop the cap. She can't even get through a whole interview. Stop the cap.
It's hard to predict what
happens
next.
Stop the cap, man. Stop the cap, man. Nothing was happening in the city, man. Stop the cap, man. Nothing with, oh, man. My name is Perfect, man. Today, we just came in and get a little, and I just want to give you guys an update of what's going on. We talk a lot about the geopolitics. This is our homeland, so we need to focus on the homeland and what Trump administration is, how he's handling the homeland, not just geopolitically, but at home, how we're handling things. And I like what I'm hearing about how the borders are. Don Holman said he had a targeted approach to LA. And what he was doing is he's going after cartels by going after the money. I didn't hear the mayor even speak to the cartel problem, speak to the conduits of how they're creating power and networks. And that's scary to me as the mayor. She should be working hand in hand with these raids, because it sounds like she's intricate and she knows the people. Maybe we could get it fixed. I don't know if they want it fixed, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in. My name is Perfect of the Perfect Time Podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do it well, and I'll see you. I'm a happy summer for everyone.